You want to talk to some folk?
I would love to bring in some company. I've been dying to get this dude on the show. One of the preeminent NBA insiders in America right now, Yahoo Sports, Chris Haynes, also of TNT. This man does it all. He is the people's NBA insider, senior NBA insider from Yahoo Sports. Chris, what's good with you, man? How are you?
Guys, man, thanks for having me on, man. And I wish you guys nothing but success on this new journey, man. This is big time what y'all doing, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
Appreciate you, man. Listen,
thank you so much.
I want to start you off with how we started the show. The biggest story, at least in our world today, is no charges being brought against the officers involved with Breonna Taylor's killing. At least no charges related to the death of Breonna Taylor. I want to start there with you. A, how do you feel? But I'm asking you a double-barrel question, as we call it. A, how do you feel in response to the news? But B, you've been in the bubble. You've been right there in the midst of this movement of athlete activism that's taking place in the NBA's Orlando bubble. How do you think they're going to respond? Because they've been calling for justice for Breonna. Now that the system once again said no, I'm actually curious to see what the next step is that the players are going to take. So how do you feel? How do you think the players feel, and how they're going to react?
Well, me personally, I'm numb right now. Obviously, this is something that I think a lot of us expected. I think we were kind of given a hint. I believe it was the Republican National Convention, one of the conventions recently, where they kind of hinted at an outcome like this in today's presser. And so, it's sad. It's definitely unfortunate. Too often, this is something that we experience too many times in our lifetime, where people of color do not get the justice they deserve, and this is another one of those incidents. That being said, as it relates to the players, I expect one of the most outspoken guys, and I've been proud of him for speaking out. He's a young brother. You guys know him all too well in Boston, Jaylen Brown. He's he's been one of the outspoken brothers here, and trying to make sure we keep the message alive as it pertains to social justice and racial discrimination, racial profiling. He's been one of the main figures here in this bubble. And so he plays tonight. They play the Miami Heat tonight, so it'll be interesting to see what he says publicly, because I'm pretty sure he will speak about it. But I think for the most part, this was a verdict that a lot of people sadly expected to happen. It's at this point, Mike, that it's like we've been here before, and so now what I'm hoping that we keep. There's been progress that has been made over the last 4 or 5 months. For the first time in my lifetime, I can say that I've seen some cops held accountable, probably not to the extent of that we want, but definitely to a greater extent than what we're used to doing this, Black Lives Matter movement, whatever you want to call it. But I just hope that we keep the foots on the necks of these politicians, judges, and the judicial system to make sure we continue to hold them accountable. Hopefully we can do something more.
Chris, I want to ask you just to follow up on that. Some of the players led by the Milwaukee Bucks initially, after what happened in Kenosha, said, okay, we're not going to play. And then the playoff games were postponed for a couple of days. And there was a sense that some people didn't really want to play. How about now? I mean, we're in the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals. Just based on the conversations that you've had, do you get the sense that players are committed to playing, or is there still some hesitancy about being in that bubble when all this is happening in the world?
Well, there was always hesitancy about playing. Guys had reservations before they even got to the bubble, feeling like if they played entertainment, if they provided entertainment, that it would drown out the positive things that's going on in society as it pertains to people of color receiving justice. With that being said, that Milwaukee Bucks boycott, they're the team that started, and I give them all props to it. This was something that was right in their backyard, so they felt they needed to take a stand. And but it left all the other teams in a vulnerable position, having to choose what do they do moving forward. And so collectively, it ended up being a boycott. And so I'm not going to say concern, but I think what's going to be an issue moving forward. First of all, I don't see play stopping right now. I don't see that. But if play were to stop, the issue that will come up is, okay, what is it going to take to to get back to playing? Because that was kind of the problem LeBron James had when the boycott happened initially. He was like, okay, the Milwaukee Bucks, you guys did this and it forced us to sit, because how are we going to take the court after you guys are sitting? Now, what are we asking for now? What is our goal to be able to rejoin the court? What are our demands? And so they worked some things out with the league and got some initiatives approved, and owners are going to do more, invest more money into and things that's going to elevate the Black community. So now it's like, if they stop play, what's the next step? Are they stopping play for good, or are they stopping play? And then, like, what are you asking? Like, are you going back to the owners to ask for something? So that's the kind of complexity about halting play again. And that's why I don't see that happening this time around.
Yeah. So on the court, you mentioned, let's do that. We haven't talked about Celtics Heat today. Celtics Heat play game 4 tonight. I said when the Heat were up 2-0, that even though we've seen teams come back from a 0-2 deficit, I don't see it happening in this case. And then the Celtics go and they do their thing in game 3, and Michael Holley is doing a praise victory dance because, now it's a series. I told you it's a series. Okay, got it. How do you see the Eastern Conference Finals playing out from this point forward?
Guys, I still think it has the possibility of going to this. I really do. I think when you look at the first 2 games Miami Heat won, it wasn't really any large margins in either game. And so both teams are right there. But I think Miami Heat, they just made enough winning plays down the stretch to pull off those games. And then we saw what Boston did in game 3. And so it's one of those scenarios, like, if I saw the Miami Heat was up 20 and, 2 or 3 times throughout both of those first 2 games, then I can easily say that, I just really feel like from top to bottom, Miami Heat are just better. But the games have been so close in all 3 games, and even though Miami has pulled them up, it hasn't been easy. Like I said, it's been plays down the stretch. Jimmy Butler in particular have made some, key plays on the offensive end and defensive ends that's kind of helped seal both of those games. But then, Bam's block as well. But, I think it still has potential to go the distance. This is a team, getting Gordon Hayward back and talking about the Celtics, this is a team who is super talented. They're versatile. They can go with different lineups. So I'm not ruling them out at all. I still would favor Miami just because what I've seen. I would favor them. Hey, but don't hold on, Mike. Don't take this from Vegas. Don't take what I'm saying to Vegas and put all your chips. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not. Don't lose your money now. I'm favoring them simply because they're up. It's simply because they're up.
Okay.
Who's Chris? Who do you think the best player in the series is? This Heat Celtics series. Who's the best player?
It's tough, guys. Look, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler. Just because on both ends of the floor, he's one of the top 5 players, maybe even higher than that when you talk about players that can do it on both ends. But look, if you look at Miami Heat, the way they've been winning all throughout this postseason, it hasn't always been Jimmy Butler. It's been Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic, Bam. And so they got a lot of guys who can, put up buckets and make timely shots when it matters most. So I'm going to go with Jimmy. But look, man, you can't dismiss Jason Tatum out there. You can't dismiss Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it can be a number of 8 different players who can be the best player, which depending on the game, so it's tough. If I had to pick a player, obviously I got to pick up the multi all-star Jimmy Butler.
Well, a lot of talk about him not getting MVP, but we know who the best player in the world is. That's still LeBron James until further notice. His Lakers up 2-1, but just like the Eastern Conference Finals, could easily be 2-1 Denver based on, the last couple of games. Are the Lakers in trouble? And if not, why not? Because I believe they are.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're in trouble, Mike. You know, even last night's game, you know, that I was at, the Lakers were in cruise control. It really, like, it was kind of baffling to me because it seemed like you want to get this Denver Nuggets team out the way. You know, I wrote about it. It was kind of the lead of my story. I was like, the Denver Nuggets almost got the Lakers right where they want them. You know, they're one loss away from being down 3-1.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then that's when they make their move. And so you cannot sleep on this Denver team at all. I still think Lakers obviously are in the driver's seat. I think they're more talented. I think they're going to be much more aggressive in the next game. But, you know, Denver, they're resilient, hard-fought team. You know, it's funny, like when you're at the game, you got the Lakers bench, they're rowdy, they're talking trash, they're taunting Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Markieff Morris. And then I was sitting over there by the Denver bench last night, just quiet. Like, they just go about their business and they do it well. And so, you know, it's funny, I remember when Paul George, I believe they were, let me see, it was 3-3 in the series, Clippers-Denver. And they asked Paul George, you know, how do you feel? He was like, well, you know, what was his response? It was something
he said we're in the driver's seat. That's what he said. We're still in the driver's seat.
I'm like, hold on here. Y'all were up 3-1. Denver just won 2 in a row. There's no home court advantage whatsoever. Right. But you guys were in the driver's seat. You know, I didn't understand that. So,
who knows where they're going?
Yeah. But in this case, I'm going to go and say Lakers in the driver's seat.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Listen, talking about going about your business and just doing your job well, same can be said for you, my friend. Super proud of the work you're doing. Thank you for holding it down like you are, man. Can't thank you enough for taking your time. I know you're busy. You could be breaking stories right now. Thanks for breaking it down with us. Thank you. Mike
and Mike, to continue success, man. Anytime y'all need me, hit me up.
Oh, we will.
Thank you,
Don't
Chris.
worry. Appreciate you. Thank you.
We're going to take you up on that.